Beneath the sulfuric haze of Slaughter Basin, 6 Vanguard elite trainees lay sealed in automated emergency medical stasis pods, their advanced kinetic plating completely shattered. Only the unarmored human remained standing. No kinetic shields, just skin. The local predators he barely even acknowledged. I'll be honest with you, what my helmet cams recorded during that drop rewrote our entire survival doctrine. 72 hours ago, the biggest concern on Transport Zeta-7 was whether the environmental scrubbers could filter out the scent of human sweat. Major Grigg double-tapped his datapad, his Korvathi mandibles clicking in sharp, frustrated rhythms at the deployment manifest. Surveying the staging bay, he watched Subcommander Vale polish his cobalt carapace, running meticulous diagnostic checks on high-grade plasma barriers. The human recruit, Leo Vance, stood apart. He shifted his weight continuously from his left foot to his right, rolling his bare shoulders in a rhythmic, restless motion. With clinical pity, Grigg noted the lack of synthetic shielding. A sacrificial scout, perhaps, or a punishment detail. To drop onto a Class 9 death world with exposed flesh was an immediate death sentence. Primitive combustion, campfires, chemical flares, are absolutely forbidden, Grigg barked to the squad, projecting the briefing holograms onto the cold metal bulkhead. They are inefficient signals for apex predators. Rely strictly on internal thermals. A sudden, stomach-dropping lurch signaled their entry into the atmosphere. The transport bay doors slammed open, vomiting the squad into the violent winds of Tartarus 9. Instantly, the atmospheric pressure bit, a dry heat that parched the back of the throat. Vale hit the dirt first. His heavy boots sank deep into the porous soil, plasma rifle sweeping the jagged perimeter. Behind him, the others followed, servos whining under the severe strain of the erratic magnetic fields. Then came Leo. The human didn't crash into the surface. He alighted, almost unnaturally smooth. His descent barely disturbed the toxic dust. Grigg's HUD isolated the anomaly instantly. He cross-referenced the human's biological profile. According to the databanks, Tartarus 9 exerted a gravitational pull of roughly 0.4 g. The baseline gravity of the human homeworld, Terra, was listed at 9.81 meters per second squared. A massive numerical gap. Grigg dismissed the readout as a localized atmospheric trick. Gravity alone didn't deflect teeth. Into the howling rapids they marched. The terrain was a jagged expanse of razor rock and geyser vents spewing acidic vapor. Vale's kinetic shields sparked almost immediately, draining critical power with every corrosive impact. Weapons raised, the elite trainees adopted tight defensive formations, secondary eyes darting at every shifting shadow. Ahead of the Vanguard formation, Leo paused. He reached down, completely exposed to the acidic mist, and picked a dry burr off his unarmored trousers. He inspected a minor scrape on his knuckle with total boredom. Over the encrypted comms, Grigg hissed, mandibles clicking faster. "Secure your perimeter." "Just checking the local flora, Major," Leo replied easily. The human's fluid, lazy movements defied every tenet of Vanguard doctrine. For the inevitable shriek of torn flesh, Grigg braced himself. Any second now, the basin would claim the fragile baseline scout. A low hum, then nothing. The mist parted. A blinkstalker rose. Outward from the fog snapped massive, serrated mandibles. A blur of iridescent chitin. Against the razor rock hissed acidic saliva, dissolving the stone on contact. Vale's plasma rifle clicked dead. Completely drained by the geyser fields was the primary power cell. Backward scrambled the elite squad, uselessly slipped their metallic boots on the slick terrain. Right in the beast's immediate trajectory stood the unarmored baseline. For the inevitable spray of red blood, Grigg firmly braced his reinforced stance. Leo shattered the local predator's exoskeleton with a bare knuckle and kept walking. From his elevated vantage point, Grigg stared at the twitching, ruined carcass of the apex predator. Howled the wind over the encrypted comms. Across the commander's visor flashed a desperate biological scan of the human skeletal integrity. 1.85 grams per cubic centimeter. The Korvathi veteran, the horrifying realization struck with physical force. Fundamentally denser than Vanguard low-grade steel was the internal kinetic shield forged by Earth's crushing gravitational pull. Never a symptom of fear had that restless, continuous shifting aboard the transport bin. His own muscular output, the human had been throttling to avoid accidentally launching his body into the stratosphere. To a baseline species born under 9.81 meters per second squared, the galaxy's deadliest training ground felt like a light jog. Across the remaining 2 rotational cycles, the planet systematically dismantled the Vanguard's highest technological achievements. Slowly ate the corrosive mist through secondary thermal regulators. Completely scrambled, the squad's internal navigation suites were the erratic magnetic anomalies. Armor plating designed to withstand orbital shrapnel simply degraded into heavy, suffocating iron, a tomb of their own making. Beneath the temporary shelter of a collapsed obsidian spire, Subcommander Vale finally broke. The proud veteran, whose meticulously polished cobalt carapace had gleamed during the briefing, now lay fractured. From his chest rig leaked vital coolant. Trembling violently in the toxic mud, Vale let the emergency extraction beacon slip from numb, unresponsive claws. The high-grade shielding had become nothing more than a lethal trap. Behind the failing perimeter, Grigg double-tapped his datapad screen in absolute silence. Entirely obsolete was the Vanguard military doctrine. If a naked biological frame could outlast their finest synthetic shielding, their entire civilization's concept of superiority was a lie. 72 hours after the initial drop, the heavy extraction shuttle's floodlights pierced the sulfuric haze of Slaughter Basin. Through the thick, yellow fog, the rescue team deployed with medical stretchers, their weapons drawn, expecting a graveyard of torn metal. "Major," Leo called out from his casual perch on a smooth boulder. "Is the fish ready? I wasn't sure about the local seasoning." Beside the human's boots, a crude pile of dry razorbrush crackled with primitive combustion. Against the freezing nocturnal winds of the basin, the forbidden technology offered steady, life-saving warmth. A rusted emergency stasis pod hissed under the transport's shadow. Inside the reinforced glass, 6 heavily armored trainees floated in chemical sleep. Small embers from the campfire drifted across the predator's shattered skull. Sparks illuminated the human's bare hands. He turned the spitted meat slowly over the open flame.